Many of us have seen this verse before. Mhm. Many of us have read this verse. It's quite easy to even memorize this verse and to recite it. But I want to know how many of us could exemplify this verse, meaning, how can we apply it and put it into action in our everyday life? Yeah, I get it. It's easy to quote this verse on a social media platform. Many people probably have this verse tatted on their chest. But can you live this verse out, especially when life goes hard? Can you live this verse out when you feel discouraged or when you are confused, when you're going through a transition, when you are experiencing uncertainty? Can you exemplify this verse? He says, trust in the Lord. I know that there are those of us who expect things to go smooth in life, but there are people who can testify right now that there are things in my life that has never been so smooth. Like, it's been rocky ever since I was a child. Is there anybody that has that testimony? That, yeah, there's been things in your life that has never gone the way that you expected it. As a matter of fact, it has gone the total opposite. And it has made you question, why are you even here? Why are you born in the family that you are born in? Why is it that you have to go through the things that you are going through? There are things in life that makes it feel as if, why is it that life has to be so complicated? Is there anybody that know what I'm talking about? And yet these are the things and the questions and the interconnected parts and aspects of our lives that really influences us to say, we need to trust in the Lord. I can imagine that there are those of us who are going through difficulty right now. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. If it's not family, it's kids. If it's not kids, it's your husband. If it's not your husband, it's your coworker. It's just so many moving parts. And I want to ask you a question. What do you do when all these moving parts feels like uncertainty? It feels like no clarity. You don't know what to do what's next. You just feel yourself chasing perfection, and it's so much difficulty surrounding you. What do you do when you're going through these things? Well, I'll tell you this. It's important for you to trust in the Lord. It's important for you to put your trust in God when you're going through uncertainty. It's important for you to put your trust in the Lord when you're going through transition, when you're going through discouragement. Because when you trust in the Lord with all your heart, what you're saying is, Lord, I am confident in the fact that you could help me get through whatever it is that I'm going through. That's what it looks like to trust in God. But I want to ask you a question, and this is a question I really want you to chew on, to reflect on. I want you to really look within and answer this question with honesty, because these next words that I'm about to say is going to mean a lot to you, and it's going to be very important for you so that you could begin the journey in trusting in God. The question I want to ask you is, what is getting in the way of you fully trusting in the Lord? Sit in that. Sit in that. What is getting in the way or prohibiting you from truly trusting in the Lord? What if the thing that is getting in the way is your crave for certainty? Ponder, soak it in, think of that. Think about that. You want things to be certain. You want to make sure things are going right. But what happens when your certainty is shaken up by uncertainty? Oh my goodness. You got to learn to put your trust in the Lord. It's important to trust God in seasons of uncertainty because God has more insight on where He needs to take you more than you do. You might feel like you don't know where to go, what to do, who to talk to. But I'm telling you right now, the best person to go to or to talk to about anything that you're struggling with, you're facing, is your Heavenly Father. You might not know what's going to happen next for your life, but God knows what's going to happen next for your life. You might not know what's going to happen about your job, but God knows about it. You might not know what career to choose next, but God knows. You might not know why you were cut off from certain people, but God knows. And it's okay if you don't know certain things. This is why uncertainty should lead you and I to trust in God. I would like to argue that it's a good thing that some of us deal with uncertainty, because if it wasn't for the uncertainty, you wouldn't know what it means to trust and rely on God. Thank God for uncertainty. Thank God. Can I be real and be honest? Thank God when I first came to Jesus that I didn't know what to do with my life, because it taught me to really trust in the Lord. And to rely on Him for where He wants to take me next. Thank God for uncertainty. Who am I speaking to? Because you've been craving certainty. But what if what you really need is uncertainty in order for you to truly trust and rely on God? Maybe your craving for certainty is getting in the way of your faith in God. Your craving for certainty is getting in the way of your trust in the Lord. And I know that this might be a tough word for somebody tonight, but I came to tell you today that just because you are uncertain doesn't mean that God is uncertain. God is never uncertain. As a matter of fact, God is always sure. He knows all things. And if you will learn to trust Him, He will lead you to what's right for your life. Didn't the Bible tells us to walk by faith, not by sight? Yeah, it might not look like that you're coming out of your situation. But what faith tells us is that even though you're going through a certain thing right now, you're believing God that God is going to work it out for your good. That's what it means to have faith and to trust in God. To trust that God will work it out regardless of what my current circumstance may look like. There are those of us who must learn to trust in God, because it is in the trusting in God that you begin to yearn and learn what it means to be directed by God. If you would learn to trust in God, then God will lead you to your next opportunity. If you will learn to trust in God, then God will lead you in your next business endeavor. He will lead you in your next partnership. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path. He's directing you. Maybe it's time for you and I to stop trying to direct our own lives and allow God to direct us. Because if God directs us, if we are led by God, then we are being led in the right direction. Imagine if we let God take the driver's seat of our lives. I'm pretty sure that we will be led into the right direction. He says, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path.